Hey guys, it's Penguin here, and welcome back to another gold making video. In today's video, I'm going to be bringing you an updated beginner guide to pet selling. So if you're somebody who has not yet gotten into the pet market, but you're very interested or you just have never heard of it before, hopefully this video will encourage you to get into the market and show you exactly how to do so. Now today's video is going to be broken down into a few sections. Firstly, we're just going to talk about actually what pet selling technically is, kind of the requirements that you need for it, and kind of the overview. Then we're going to talk about the initial setup and how to find/buy pets. We're going to be talking about how to pick a server or servers, and then we're also going to get into actually how to sell these pets. So there is going to be multiple different parts of this video, so feel free to use the timestamps down below if you want to skip to a specific part. But as always, everybody, I hope you guys enjoy, I hope you find this helpful, and please keep in mind that there are so many ways to sell pets. In today's video, I'm trying to make it as simple yet reliable as possible and show you just a very beginner method if you want to get into the market. But please, if you have another method that you prefer, do not feel bad, you do not have to do this method, it is just what I currently do. But everybody, thank you so much for watching, I hope you enjoy. I'll quit talking, and here's the video. So to get started, I'm going to talk about exactly what pet selling is, because I know some people probably clicked on this video without fully understanding. And so what pet selling generally is basically flipping. So you're going to be buying a pet for a cheap price, and you're going to be selling that pet for a higher price. So just like if you were to reset, let's say, herb markets, if you were to buy a transmog piece for half price and resell it for full, any sort of concept like that. Now the big difference between material flipping and pet flipping is that pet flipping is a multi-realm process. What I mean by this is you normally are buying cheap pets on one server and you're taking it to another server to sell. You're not just buying it for cheap on the same server and reselling on that same server. The reason is because each server has their own market and the pet prices can change drastically. Also, another main reason is that pets are cageable and learnable. So if you guys don't know, if you go into your collections, you have your pet journal. And that journal is accessible from every single character on your account. So all you have to do is, let's say I am on Area 52 NA, I can buy a pet and learn it, and now it's in my pet journal, and then I can go onto my alt on Illidan NA and recage that pet. It takes it out of my pet journal, and I just transferred that item or that pet from another server for free. So this is the big plus of pet selling, and that is exactly the process we're going to be doing. We're going to be buying cheap on one server and selling high on a different one. So let's get into the requirements, and thankfully this process and this requirements are pretty simple. There's going to be 3 add-ons that technically you can do without, but I highly recommend, and I dare say required. The first one is Trade Skill Master, which is probably not a surprise if any of you are already gold makers, so make sure you have that add-on. Also keep in mind, if you're installing Trade Skill Master for the first time, you need the desktop application in order to receive region and realm data. After that, I highly recommend getting the add-on Battle Pet Cage Match. This basically is an auto-caging add-on, so it completes and does all of the figuring out about what pet is actually worth selling for you. And then lastly, this is probably the least important add-on, but I still highly recommend it, and this is Pet Tracker. Now this add-on itself has a lot of different uses, but mainly we're going to be using it to track the source of each pet. So if we hover over a tooltip, we can tell if it's from a vendor, if it's from a dungeon, a rare mob, etc. So yeah, after you go on Curse or whatever add-on platform and you download those 3 add-ons, we're going to get into the second part of this video, and this is the initial setup. And so the main setup is of course evolving TSM. So we need to set up a pet group as well as a pet operation. So we can go in game and of course open up our TSM. Now for this, I have made a brand new profile. If you guys aren't sure how to do that, you can hit settings, and down here you can create a profile. I just called it blank, and we're going to use it for today's video. So if you have already a profile set up, feel free to do this if you don't want to accidentally mess anything up that you've already created. But once you're here, there are a few options. Now, in the description, I'm going to leave a link to the Reddit post. I believe it's by Hoorah, and he has basically taken the initiative of creating already made pet groups that everybody can use. Billis used to do this back in the past, and it seems like he's carrying out that tradition, so thank you so much for doing so. But before we actually use that import, I want to talk about how you can make a basic group if you wanted to do it yourself. And this is utilizing the base group function. So let's say you just wanted to make a big group of battle pets. All you would have to do is search into base group /battle pets, and they will all come up here. Now, depending on how you search, right now we're looking at specific, so you're going to get level 25s, you're going to get level 1s, and then you're going to get kind of this, base edition of the pet. And so if you're searching via specific, you're going to get all three options, and you even have the quality differences as well. You can change this to base, and you're just going to get that basic pet, so it doesn't matter if you are selling a level 2, a level 3, doesn't matter. And then of course you have item level, which honestly doesn't really do anything for pets. It's basically the same thing as base level. So if you wanted to create a group, you could just, select all right here, select all 800 pets, and then move them into a group. But in the case of this video, we're going to utilize the groups from Reddit. So if you guys haven't already, go onto that Reddit post and you can choose basically exactly what I said. So you can choose either the base items, or you can pick level 1s and level 25s. If you want to sell level 25s at a different price, it could be good to separate them. But what I'm going to do is import the level 1s. Just like that, it's not going to be named, so we can just rename this pets level 1. And then I'm also going to import the 25. And there we go. And we can just quickly rename this to pets level 25. And right there, we now have our pet groups. Step 1, complete. Also, just because I like organization, I'm going to call this pets and then drag these as subgroups, just, so I can close this down if I want to. You don't have to do that. I'm just, being organized. But now we have our base set up, so we're going to apply an operation. And this is when your personal preference is going to come through. And so firstly, you can choose exactly how long you want to post your pets. I check it once a day, so I normally only post for 24 hours. And personally, I only post one of each pet. But feel free to change that to fit, your lifestyle. Then we have the posting prices. Now remember how I talked about how we're going to be trading from server to server? So we're going to be utilizing the regional price, because market value doesn't really matter, as Area 52's market price will be different than Illidan's. So we're going to be using the DB region market average, which is basically the average DB market of the region. And so the percentage is where it comes to you. For example, some people like to sell at 70% DB region market as the cheapest. Some people will only go as low as 80, and some people might even be a little bit more greedy and sell at 85 or 90%. This literally is up to you. Now, of course, the lower you put the percentage, the cheaper and probably less margin per pet you're going to get. But you will probably be posting a lot more pets with a more lenient percentage. Let's just say for the case of this video, we're going to use 75% DB region market average. So we could quickly just copy this in right here and then change the maximum to whatever you want. Let's say we can just stick with a solid 300%, so 3 times the region average. Then for normal, it is completely up to you. Let's say 250, just throwing one out there, and I'm just gonna actually copy it and do right there. So there we go. We now have our basic operation set up. It is working around the regional prices. and all we have to do is go to details, add this to our pets group. Now, if you are somebody who wants to value your level 25 pets differently, this is where it comes in. You can completely make a new operation and assign it only to that level 25 group and keep it separated. But for the case of this video, we're just going to treat all these pets the same way. Also, so we don't get confused, I'll name that pets. And so there we go. We have our initial setup complete. And so now we're going to transition into part 2, which is actually figuring out what pets to buy. So there are 2 methods to go around this. There is a little bit of a slower method, and then there's a little bit of a faster one, but both of them have their pros and cons. So what you can do is go into here, create a shopping operation, name this pets, and put your maximum auction house price into this variable. So once again, we are utilizing the region price, so we can put it right here. Now, the perks of a shopping operation is that you can set a maximum price. So you know how in our example, we are selling pets for 75% region market at the lowest? Let's say the highest we ever want to buy pets is at 40%. So we can make sure we have a pretty good percent profit. That means we can go into here, type in 40%, show auctions above max price, no, and now if we run this shopping operation, we will only see pets that meet this criteria. The bad thing about this, if we just assign it real quick, double check that it's there, there we go. The bad thing about this is that if we start a scan, it's going to be very, very slow. Just because a shopping scan is always a little bit slower than a general browse scan, and there's a lot of pets in this list. So of course, if you can walk away from the computer, this is perfectly fine. But I'm going to show you a little bit of a faster way. So for the people who do not want to use the shopping operation, you can simply just type /battlepets into the search group. Now what this will do is basically do the exact same thing, but it's searching all of the pets. And as you can see, it is a lot faster. But the big caveat is that right now, this percentage is DB market. And like I said before, we are not evaluating based on DB market, we need the regional prices. So we can do a little bit of a hack by going into our TSM settings, going to browse, and changing this price source to DB region market average. Now if we go back in, resume that scan, this percentage now reflects our region average, which is exactly what we want. So the pro of this method is that it is a lot faster. The con of this is you can't actually shove a percentage in there. And also, you have to make sure you go back into these settings, and you have to make sure after you do this, you reset here. Or if you're a crafter or anything, things are going to be looking a lot weird if you go to restock. So whatever method works for you, it is completely fine. I am a little bit lazy, so I do the quicker method, but of course, make sure you reset this variable if you want to do this method. But now I am just going to let this scan a little bit. As you can see, there are already so many pets populating. We are already right here, but I'm going to let it populate a little bit, and I'll get back to you in just 1 second. And all right, we've scanned just enough. We've gotten to about 55% of the region market, and that is perfectly fine for me. Generally, I'm not going to be buying in these higher percentages anyways. But when it comes to buying pets, we're going to be looking at 2 big things. The first one is, of course, the price compared to the region. So, if you're being able to buy pets at 3% of the region market average, you're going to make a lot more gold compared to buying it at 60%. The second main factor is the source. And so remember how we downloaded or installed that pet tracker add-on? If you hover over one of these, we're going to see now kind of where they come from. So for example, the obsidian hatchling comes from a vendor inside of the Crystal Song Forest for 50 gold. And so we're going to utilize these two things to figure out what pets we should actually buy. Now, as a quick rule of thumb, I generally avoid all vendor pets because if I want to sell them, then I will just go to the vendor. You know, if it costs 500 gold at the vendor, there's no reason for me to spend 1,000 on it on the auction house because I'll just go buy it. So that is one main rule that I look for. Besides that, it basically is just about going through and kind of figuring out what intrigues you, and if you notice a rarer pet, then that is pretty good. Just giving you some examples, let's scroll through the auction house and figure out what we can find. Now, the first thing you're going to notice is that there are a lot of cheap pets. Now, if you're somebody going into pet selling with not a lot of gold, you can start with the cheap pets because, you know, for example, right here, this costs 90 gold on my realm. Region market average is about 900 at the moment. Now, this might not get you super rich, but if you're somebody who only has maybe 30k to spend on pets, this could help out a lot. Also, keep in mind this is a drop from the Sunwell, so if you wanted to, you could buy this. Personally, since I have a little bit more gold, I'm going for the bigger flips, so I'm going to pass. But another example is like right here. As you can see, this is a vendor item for 50 silver, so definitely, even though it's 5 gold, you know, skip out on it, because if you really want it, you can go buy it at the vendor. Scrolling through a little bit, yet again, we're still kind of in the cheap zone at the moment, but we do have this diamond shell. And as you can see, I actually sold it like last year for 1,000 gold, but as you can see, this is a drop from Najdatar, which is a zone in BFA. Currently, the price on my server is about 150 gold. Regionally, it sells for about 1,000, and it has a pretty good sell rate at 0.03. And so, in a case, if I had a very low gold, I would probably risk it for this item. Once again, personally, I'm not going to buy it due to my gold count, but this could be an item you want to look at. Moving on, we have a great item right here, which is Gizmo. Now, Gizmo currently comes from a Shadowlands dungeon, and generally you kind of want to stay away from current content pets because generally they will drop in value, but Shadowlands is coming to a close. And so, as you can see, I have actually been selling Gizmo very well. The last one I sold was about 45 days ago, and my sell rate is about a 0.07, and the region sell rate is a 0.12. So this pet is in high demand. If we just hold shift real quick, as you can see, I have sold 4 of these for 34k. And right now, I can buy them for less than 1,000 gold, and the region market is about 3,000. So I could possibly triple my money. So in this case, I will 100% buy it. You know, if they keep crashing a little bit or whatever, if we hold this until Dragonflight, they will probably sell very well. Also, I do have a past experience of them doing well themselves. So I'm going to buy as much as I want. Now keep in mind, it's going to depend on, you know, how many servers you want to get into or how much stock you want to buy. But in this case, I really like this pet, so I honestly am going to buy all that are here. And there we go. I just bought a handful, and we can go and check out some more items. Another item that might be pretty good is this Bone Serpent. Once again, I'm kind of sticking on the more beginner level things, and right now you can buy this for about 1,000 gold. The region market value is about 3.5k, and the sell average is about 1.6, but I wouldn't worry about sell average that much. The sell rate is really good at 0.05, which is awesome, and this comes from a pet battle. So, you know, it's not the rarest thing in the world, but it's also not like a vendor. So I would potentially buy this, and just let's see how many there are. You know what? We'll go ahead and buy 3 of them. Looking again, we have this young Venom Fang. Now this drops from the damp pet supplies, so yet again, not super rare, but also not very easy to get, and currently I could buy it for about 3.5k. The region market value is about 9,000 gold, however it is a lot of a slow seller. It only has a 0.01 sell rate compared to something like the Gizmo, which had a 0.12. So this is a lot of a slower seller, but you know, it could bring good money. So this is something I would probably buy. Another Shadowlands pet is that we have Dread, which is from the Maw, and generally, I might stay away from this item because it's current content, but Shadowlands is coming to a close, so this is perfect. Not many people are going to be running in the Maw, whenever Dragonflight comes out. So I can buy it at about half price, I can buy it for 4,000 gold. Originally, it goes for about 9,000, 0.02 sell rate, pretty good, and there's 2 of them. And so yeah, that is just a few options that I wanted to show you, but of course there are a ton of pets that you can buy. Excuse the dirty mailbox, but we now have a few pets. Now I do want to pause real quick. Pets are just like transmog, which means you need a pretty good stock to see results. So pets I would call the cousins of transmog. Now, a lot of people might be a little bit scared because generally people say you need about 1,000 to 2,000 transmog pieces to make sales. Pets, you don't need 1,000 of them. But I would say you need at least maybe 50 to 100 to see consistent sales. But I do have servers that only have about 30 or so pets that are seeing sales, just not every single day. So don't feel like you need to go spend millions of gold on pets or anything, but of course, the more money and the more effort you put into this market, the more you're going to get out of it. But yeah, keep that in mind, and now we're going to move on to exactly how to pick a server to sell pets. And alright, we're going to talk about how to pick a server. Now this is going to be a little bit underwhelming because honestly, the server doesn't matter that much in terms of trying to research it. It's really hard to look on, let's say, the Undermine Journal or something and say, yes, this is a good pet server, this is going to be great. You really don't know until you test the waters. And the best thing about pet selling is that you should do it on a lot of realms, because the more realms you're on, the more likely you're going to get a sale, and that's going to open you up to being able to buy more pets. For example, the stuff that I showed you in this video is coming from my main server, which is a medium pop server, so my pets already are pretty expensive, even though I was able to find a few deals. However, let's say I start making gold on Thrall, which is a full pop server. Thrall may have a ton of cheap pets, so as I get, let's say, 30k on Thrall, I can spend that on cheap pets, take it back to my main realm, or any of these side realms that I want, and keep expanding. So in terms of exactly how to find a server, I would just pick one that interests you. So whether this is because you have a friend that plays on that server, let's say there's maybe a guild that you might want to join on that server, maybe for RP reasons, for farming reasons, whatever it is, find a server that intrigues you. It could even just be because it's a full pop server and there will likely be more sales. Whatever it is, just find a server and pick it. It's really not that extravagant, and of course you can do this multiple times. So feel free to pick 3 or 5 servers. I would generally say I would pick maybe at least 4 servers to get started, but of course, keep it small if you need to, don't overwhelm yourself. But for the case of this video, we're going over to one of my kind of up-and-coming realms, which is Bleeding Hollow, and we're going to go and talk about how to sell these actual pets. And alright, whenever you get on your new server, I recommend creating an allied race, because the allied race is automatically going to be level 10 and be in your major city. Of course, if you don't have access to an allied race, you can pick an orc or a human depending on your faction, be really close to orc or stormwind, and you can take a little bit of a walk. Once you're here, of course, mess with your add-ons, whatever. You're going to want TSM enabled, as well as the Battle Pet Cage Match. That is when this add-on is going to come in handy. And so the first thing I want to say is you are going to have to add the server to your TSM application. So if you guys have just set up TSM or you've been using TSM, you're going to have to input your new realm. So right now I am on Bleeding Hollow, so I'll have to go on the website, log on to my account, and add Bleeding Hollow to my desktop application. This is a thing that people forget to do, and I highly recommend it for the case of using this add-on. Of course, you don't have to do this, but it's going to make life easier, trust me. But once you have your realm added, you may have to do a /reload, and you'll have information and we're good to go. So we're going to open up our pet collection, and you're going to notice a little bit of a cage pet icon right here. Now, if you guys do have Rematch installed, which is just another pet journal add-on, if your journal looks like this, make sure you disable Rematch, and you'll see this little button. Also, if you use Bagnon, it might come up right here, but this is where you'll find it for sure. Then you're going to want to shift-click on this, and you're going to have options. Now feel free to take a look at this, on your own, but there's about 3 main settings we're going to adjust. So scrolling down, we have our first setting, which is how many pets to cage. Now this is going to correspond to your posting cap. So remember how we made that posting operation, and I said I only sell 1 of each pet, so we're going to leave that at 1. Let's say you're going to post duplicates, you can change it to 2, to 3, whatever you like. The second thing is that you can choose what level. Now I personally don't care about the level of the pet, so I keep it from 1 to 25. But let's say you never want to sell your level 25 pets because it's a personal collection, or you use them, whatever, you can always change this, if you only want to sell level 1s, you can just change that to 1 and 1. If you just don't want to cage 25s, you can change that to 24, whatever you'd like. But I will sell anything, so we're changing that back to 25. And then, yet again, if you guys are a collector, you can change this. So only cage when quantity is at or above. So let's say you have your personal collection, you can change this to 2. So it's only going to cage 1 pet if you have at least 2 of them. So it's not going to take away your only stock of a certain pet. Personally, I'm not a collector, so I keep this at 1, but if you are a collector, definitely move that up to 2. Then if we skip down a little bit more, we're going to see this section, and you're going to want to make sure you enable Use Custom TSM Source. Yet again, it requires TSM. This is why we downloaded TSM and added the realm to your realm list. And this is where you're going to type in whatever you set as your minimum price on your posting operation. So remember, we set it to 75, so we're good right there. And so this is going to kind of be the summary of what we've changed. So if we just read it out, we're caging up to 1 pet between levels 1 to 25 when DB market is greater than 75% DB region market average that I at least have 1 or more of. If that sounds pretty right to you, it sounds right to me. We're caging 1 pet, any level, as long as market value is above 75% of the region. Once you're good, you can hit close. And now, all we have to do is click Cage Pets. Now, depending on how many pets you have in your inventory, how many you buy, this list could be a ton. I only bought, 4 pets previously, and that's literally all I did for this video, so I'm only showing 2. However, these are the pets that meet that requirement. If none show up, that simply means that none meet your requirements. But based on those settings we just read out, we have 2 pets, so we can just hit Start Caging. And it will do that all for you. And so we can take a look at what it caged. Currently, the Dread, which I believe we bought for just maybe 2,000 gold, or I think actually we bought it for 4,000 gold. I think we bought it for half region. On this server, it's selling for 25,000 gold. And then if we look at the Venom Fang, I think we bought it for 4,000 as well. I can't remember at this point, but right now it's selling for about 7,000. So it's not over region market value, but it's, 75% or higher. So all we have to do is make sure you have your profile enabled, whatever you created, and then just go into your auctioning and hit post. And right there, undercutting competition, and boom, we are officially done. Now, I can't show you guys exactly live in the moment, but I'll put it on screen if you guys are deciding to post your pets, and a lot of them aren't posted because it says below minimum price. It is because the Battle Pet Cage Match takes into account DB market. So Think about crafting. If you guys are a crafter, DB market is the market average. So if market average is 5K, but currently it's on the auction house for 3K, this add-on is taking into the fact that you're going to sell it for 5,000 gold. So if, right now on your server it's below that, it's not going to allow you to post. Now, you do have the option of simply just not posting it. You can either relearn it and try to do it on another server, or you can wait for the price to recover. That's generally what I do. Or you can go into your Battle Pet Cage Mat settings and change your DB market to DB min buyout. Now, I personally don't recommend it because DB min buyout can be very, very wrong, but if it's something that annoys you, you can always attempt to see if it works for you. But if you're having any sort of weird issues with minimum price, that is the reason behind it. And so yeah, I know this is a super long video, but hopefully this helps. Basically, once you have this rolled down, every once in a while, you can do a shopping scan, maybe once a week on each server, however you want to do it. Then all you have to do is log on to your server, click that cage pet, post them on the auction house, log off, and you're good to go. My daily routine right now maybe takes me about 3 minutes per server, and of course, maybe about 10 minutes per server on the days that I restock and buy more pets. But it's really this simple. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know how pets are doing for you. I'll post some sales, on screen, some basic ones just to give you guys excited. Nothing insane. Just like some beginner flips that it's happened that you might want to look at. But thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions or issues with the tutorial, but I really appreciate it. As always, the best place to contact me is the Discord, and it's also just a lovely community of people who love gold making, so feel free to join if you want to be a part of it. But as always, everybody, have a good day.